You can only hold a ball underwater for so long before it pops back up. Listen in on episode 2 of the Grief series. Hey friends, welcome to the Inner Spark podcast. I'm your host, Casey Tayton. If you're looking to hear stories of transformation and personal growth, this podcast is for you. My guest and I will be sharing those sparking moments that has changed them into living a more fulfilling, authentic life. I'm so excited for you to hear each unique story. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to the Inner Spark podcast. This is the Grief series, and I'm your host, Casey Tayton. Today I have with me Pam Sandrock. She is the founder of the No Knockouts Life Coaching and Personal Development and the host of the No Knockouts podcast. Her coaching is rooted in intentionality, integrity, and resilience. She helps others find her truth, be empowered to live for what they want and for who they're meant to be. She is committed to living well, not just living, and helps you do the same. She is a wife and a mother of 2 college-aged kids. And Pam says, you can be knocked down, but you're not knocked out. Commit to rise, commit to climb, and commit to thrive. I love it. It's so beautiful. Welcome, Pam. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hey, Casey. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I love the introduction and I enjoy always getting to hear about myself. It's different when you tell somebody about yourself, but when somebody else says the same words, it just feels different. It's sort of fun.
It's like reflecting the mirror back on how amazing you are.
Well, that's one way to look at it. Thanks.
I want you guys to know that I met Pam actually through a mentor we both had in common, and then I ran a community, and Pam joined it, and it was a fun year. She's just an all-around beautiful person, you guys. So I'm just so excited to have you here. You have this way of speaking that is so unique and really grabs somebody's attention in a really powerful way. She has her own journey dealing with grief. She knows what that feels like. And so I just think this is going to be one of the most amazing episodes just to have you talk about it. So I'm going to just jump right in and just ask you, what does grief mean to you?
Okay. First thought is letting go of something you've lost. That's like my very first thought is I think when you lose something or you feel like you are losing something, grief immediately follows. I think that grief or something in life has happened that is forcing you to let go. And sometimes that's by choice. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's natural. Sometimes it's not. But it's saying goodbye or letting go of something that you've held, that you've appreciated and enjoyed, or time has passed. So to me, it's tied to loss and letting go.
Yeah, I love it. When we talk about grief and emotions and all the different feelings, I think grief is one. The whole reason for me doing this series is grief is one that we don't often talk about. Yet
it's hard.
It is hard. And I also believe that it really does affect every single person in some way or another.
Yeah, it's one of the common things that we turn to. I think that we know how to get angry. We know how to be afraid. And whether we like it or not, we have to learn how to grieve if you don't know how to do it, because it's just part of life. To me, it's one of those things that we have to get good at as humans. Yeah. And it's not something that we like or enjoy, but it is something that we practice through life. You know, none of us like to be angry or afraid or grieving, but we have to do it as life goes on, sometimes more than we want to, but nobody escapes it. My thought is you may as well spend time getting good at grieving as opposed to avoiding it or pushing it away or denying it or resisting it, because there's no escaping it. You may as well practice the grieving process when you're forced to grieve or when you have to grieve, because it just helps you get through whatever you're going through faster and better. And when the next thing comes around, you know how to do it again. It's practiced. And
Yeah.
so I think that if you were to take grief and fear and anger, those are the three I brought up, or those are the two I attached to grief. I feel like they're at the end of a spectrum.
Mhm.
You know, they're not in the middle. They're not this, we have feelings like frustration and discontent and things like that are kind of middle ground, but grief falls further down the spectrum. And so it's
Yes.
hard. It's harder. And I just don't feel like we're born being good at handling grief. Unfortunately, we have to get good at it because we've had to do it through life. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yeah. I love how you explained it and how, because when I think of grief, I think it almost is like a ladder of feelings. And I think grief is like one of the bottom ones, the very bottom ones. And it's one that we're not often taught to talk about or even how to express what to do about it. And
That's a good
so,
point.
yeah, I feel like it's down there. We're taught to be happy, and it's okay to be like, are you happy or are you sad? But then we don't ever look at someone and be like, are you grieving? You know?
Well, I think sometimes we're uncomfortable around people who are grieving
Yes.
because you don't know how to do it yourself, so you don't know how to help them. And we're taught to be positive in life, right? I
Mhm.
kind of grew up around this phrase of if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Yes.
And while I do really, I have attached that thought in my life because I don't want to run around spewing negativity,
Right.
there is a time and a place to not be okay. And when
Yes.
you're grieving, I think it's okay to not be okay in those times and for that to show on the outside. I
Yeah.
think so many times grief sometimes comes with a little bit of shame or regret.
Mhm.
And if those are all mixed together and you don't know how to process that, we stuff it down.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when we're grieving the loss of someone, there's probably not any shame there, but maybe there's a little bit of regret of, oh, I wished I would have spent more time with them, or I wished I would have said these things. And
Yeah.
so you're dealing with more than one emotion. In my case, I had breast cancer. I was diagnosed when I was 37 years old. And so I had a lot of shame around that because I didn't understand why I got it. And I couldn't find a place to blame the reason. I was like, why in the heck did I get this? I didn't do anything. I'm fit, I'm healthy, I eat well, I live a healthy life. It's not in my genes. We did all the genetic testing, but I still wanted to blame it on something. I had a hard time accepting it. And so I had to grieve the person I was before I got the diagnosis. Because getting a diagnosis, whether it be cancer or there are plenty of other hard things, it changes your life even if you don't want it to. There's no way around it. And when you are stuck with that label, you have to process it. And it's not an overnight thing, it takes a really long time. And in that process is grief. In that process is letting go of who you thought you were or who you
Yeah.
thought you were going to be. You know who
Yes.
you were, but you have to let that person go because now you've been re identified, you've been relabeled, and you didn't choose it. So you're letting go of someone who once was, and you're letting go of the person who you thought you were going to be. I would have never thought I would have been a person with cancer, but now I
Right.
am. And so you're grieving on multiple levels and multiple directions. You're grieving backwards and forwards. And with that shame that I had mixed up in it, no one was shaming me. Let me point that out. No one was pointing shame or giving me shame. That was all mine. I would have never even spoke about it. For a decade, I didn't speak about it because it hurt too bad. It felt too shameful.
Yeah.
And so when you have those two mixed together, it just compounds. And so
Yeah.
I think people often don't want to talk about their grief for multiple reasons because they do have other emotions attached with it and they don't know how to handle it. Or two, they don't want to come across as negative. They don't want a pity party. That was true for me. I'm like, don't pity me. I
Mhm.
don't want pity. You know,
Yeah.
there's that attitude, that defense mechanism that comes with it. People don't want pity. You don't want to be labeled as sad or negative or anything like that. So people paint on their happy face and their I'm okay face, but they're really not.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for sharing your journey. You've been through a lot, and the way you just talk about it and speak about it. In one word, you said, we did not choose it. And I think that really stood out because I think when we're dealing with grief, it's something that we did not choose. We had no control over. I don't want to say that anything is better or worse. Fighting cancer. Maybe it's like you broke up with a boyfriend, girlfriend, you lost a pet. Maybe it's you lost your job. Grief can come in all the different ways. But those are usually things that we don't choose. Things that are happening maybe to us, we feel like at the time.
Hmm.
Later, usually we see there's something that happened for us where they've changed us in a different way because we
Hmm.
all go through these changes. I can relate personally to your story because I fought my own medical battle, and I think that's why I connected with you so quickly. You understand what it's like to like, don't feel sorry for me. Like, wait, this is my life. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be labeled as sick. And so people put all these labels and all these titles on you, and they want to feel sorry for you. And I think they don't know what to say to us.
Yeah, there's judgment involved for sure.
Yeah.
And for me, part of staying silent about it was to avoid judgment and criticism.
Mhm.
It was a self-protective mechanism, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, it was very complicated. I had two young children at home in elementary school. I didn't want people asking my young children how their mommy is. There was a
Mhm.
lot of depth to it. It's not as simple as it sounds. But I think that because it's so sort of unnatural to get a diagnosis in early to midlife,
Yeah.
it's sort of extra. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be 72 and get diagnosed because I'm not there. I can
Yeah.
only imagine it's devastating. But I feel like when you have two young children at home, or maybe you don't have children yet,
Hmm.
it's a different level of pain because
Yeah.
there's so much life ahead of you, and you wonder, is this going to be taken from me, or will I ever fulfill who I thought I was going to be?
Yeah.
And so it takes the normal uncertainty of the future. You know, everybody's future is uncertain.
Right.
It takes that to a whole new level, though.
Yes, it
It
does.
takes that uncertainty and the unknown of your future to an unimaginable level that you have to face it.
Yeah.
And in that is grieving because you don't know on a whole different, it's like magnified.
Yeah.
And the pity that comes from some people, it's not meant to be pity, it's truly caring.
Mm.
I know people are good and people care, but sometimes it would be better just to remain silent than say anything. And you
Yes.
never know what you're going to get. And for
Yeah.
me, I needed to deal with this in private to protect myself for so long because I knew anything on the outside was going to be extra weight.
Yeah.
And I think people are good. Let's just say a teacher came up and said, "Oh, I was thinking about you. One of your kids was sad today in school." And they're probably wondering, is it because there's sadness at home? Like, I didn't want that projected. And that never happened. That never happened. But it's just a scenario that I
Yeah.
needed to prevent.
Yeah.
I didn't want people judging or criticizing and tying things together that didn't need to be tied together.
Yeah.
And so some of that was self protective, but it was also for my own family. I didn't want people coming to my mom and saying, "Hey, how's your baby girl?" She
Yes.
didn't need that. She was grieving her own way for me and with me.
Yeah.
And so to me, sometimes grieving is better done in private as a protective mechanism. And it's not because people don't care and they're not good. It's just that we don't know what to do with it.
Yes.
Not that people are harmful and have ill will or bad intent. It's just that we're unskilled in that area. And
Mm.
the only way to get skilled is to get more uncomfortable with it. And that takes all parties having to participate. One of the things that you said was, I can't remember how you said it, but it was like, it was unnatural. Things happen to us, maybe for us.
Mhm.
I thought of another example now, and the second one is coming to mind, that I've been through grieving processes that aren't so directly affecting me. I remember when my oldest son was fixing to move off to college. That was a huge grieving process for me. Nothing was wrong. It was a natural part of life. That's how it's supposed to be, quote unquote, supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I grieved the life I had and the family that we had formed in that fashion. That was all going to change because my oldest was moving to college. And
Yes.
so I grieved our unit in its normal existence because I knew that was going to shift. So there's other ways to grieve. Like
Yeah.
right now is grieving season for a lot of mothers when their kids are graduating high school or they're graduating kindergarten.
Yep.
Moms are grieving right now as their kids are kind of moving through the passages of school. And so grief is also natural.
It
It's
is.
not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I just
But
wanted to bring that up.
yeah, I love how you just said that because I look at all the different stages of life we go through grief, but yet people aren't okay talking about it. And so that's really why I'm doing this series, is because I want it to be okay for people to say, maybe I'm struggling, or maybe I need some space, but to be able to vocalize, I'm feeling pain. I'm grieving this. I'm sad on a deep level, like more than just sad. Grief is heavy. I'm facing this loss, no matter what kind of loss it may be. Maybe it's a loss of your old identity. Maybe it's someone passed away. There could be 100 different things, but grief is tied to all of them, kids going away. And it's just like, how do we bring awareness that it's okay to talk about that?
I think it has to start with us practicing saying, hey, I'm sort of hurting today, or I'm sad today, and it not being a bad thing for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the person who runs around saying, oh, I'm sad. It's my 10th day in a row. I think I'm turning depressed. No, I don't want to be that.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think it's okay to start out by acknowledging, hey, I'm not my best self today, or I'm not 100%. I'm here sitting at 65, and I think that's all I'm going to be today. I'm a 65%er today. And
Yes.
accepting that, and then realizing tomorrow could be higher and better or not.
Yeah.
But recognizing that not everybody can be 100% all the time, and it's okay to be lesser than or have lesser days. And
I
some
think,
of those periods take longer than we want them to last.
yeah, this is how I take it is people put this thing around grief and it's like you should grieve and then be done with it. Like face it and then be done with it. And in the experiences I've had, that's not true. I think it can happen years later, months later. I think it can happen 15 years later. That, especially for, I want to say our older generation, I think they especially never learned how to grieve. It was be tough, be strong, especially for the men. And so if we can just take the toughness out of the world and it's okay to feel feelings and be okay and to cry. I think I have said this. I didn't see my dad cry or my grandpa cry. And like I would cry at a funeral, my dad's not crying. Like, wait, is there something wrong with me because I'm crying? And like that's my dad's parents and he's not crying. Then you almost feel like something is wrong with you because I'm the grandkid and I'm crying. And my dad's just sitting there with a look on his face. And I think it's that strong, you have to be strong, you have to be tough that society has put on people.
Yeah, I think I hear exactly what you're saying.
Hmm.
But I think there's a time and a place for both. And I think, and here's and I'm not there yet. And I feel like in the middle of this. So I don't want to say it and be wrong. I could be wrong. But I feel like with maturity, we figure out when is the time for it to be okay to be sad. And when is the time where we like, okay, I need to pull up my big girl panties and put on my boots and deal with it today.
Yeah.
That's a maturity. I think for a long time, like you were saying, you just toughen up, suck it up, big guy, rub some dirt on it, get back in the game.
Yeah.
It's the whole toughen up concept. But then there's the sway to the other side, which
Hmm.
there's always that big sway. And then everybody's soft and we're all talking about our feelings, which I love too.
Yeah.
But everything kind of comes back to a middle ground. We don't
Mhm.
always stay far left or far right or far high or far down. We've got to find that middle ground and we have to realize, hey, it's okay that I acknowledge and deal with and sit with my sadness at this period of time. Or maybe this is a moment where I need to pull up my bootstraps for a minute and
Yeah.
then deal with it later. Because you do got to go to work. You do have to do the things you have to do.
Life goes
And
on.
life goes on. The
Yeah.
train never stops.
Yeah.
And I learned that when I got cancer. My life halted, but everybody else around me,
Yeah.
everything was normal.
Yeah.
Everybody was good and giddy and going to the events, and I'm laying in bed crying. And
Yes.
so there is a time and a place. And I think you're going to have days where you sway one way, where you're like, I'm super tough today and I can deal with this. And then the other days you're down in the shower crying. I think with maturity, you realize how you can handle both.
Yeah.
What
That
do
is
you think of
very,
that?
yeah,
What do you think?
I think that's very true that there is a time and place that, but if someone is breaking down in public, I just say give them grace.
Oh,
So like,
absolutely.
because we learn as we grow, and the more we've experienced grief, and the more awareness I want to say we have to it, then yes, I think. But I also think there's the days that you're like, okay, today I gotta be freaking tough, and I gotta get through this,
Hmm.
because there are so many days, and I imagine that you had so many days like today I have to do this. Today I have to face this.
Hmm.
Well, I
Well,
get
I
to
wanted
face
life to
this
be
because,
normal.
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted life to be normal. I wanted to take my kids to school every single day and pick them up every single day. So I painted on my pretty face and I
Mhm.
would come home and cry and then clean up before I went and picked them up. And in between, there was all the doctor's visits and all the things.
Yeah.
Um, but something else is when we're in the moment, you were talking about things that take years to pass.
Hmm.
Let's say something happened a long time ago and the old generation thinks that we should just move on and be past it. But we know grief is not linear, it comes and
Right.
goes. Something that has helped me is in the moment, right here and now, I can tell myself I am perfectly fine. So if I feel sad about something that happened in the past, I now have I've practiced this. I can realize that, hey, I am fine right now. And the sadness I'm feeling is because I have placed my mind into a past moment. So the sadness I'm currently feeling is based on yesterday's issues, yesterday's feelings, and I am reliving those. I
Yeah.
have stepped into my shoes of yesterday and am processing something from back then. I'm processing it today, but my emotions today are ones that I've picked up and not fully set down from the past. And so, if you can realize there is a past, a present, and a future, and realize where you are and what you're processing, that actually helps. And I don't know if I'm explaining that well enough for it to be clear, but there is the now. And our now carries the feelings that happen now. But if you can realize sometimes we pick up feelings of the past, we don't always have to do that. We can be like, oh my gosh, that's already happened. Why am I reliving that? Do I need to relive it or am I doing it because I'm like entertaining my own sadness?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't need to process it. We dive into our own sadness because we want to cry and we want to feel bad. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong,
Right.
but if you can catch yourself doing that, you may be able to get through it faster. And that is emotional maturity. And as we grow and age and practice and go through this, we get more emotionally mature. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking about being emotionally mature enough to know to let it out on the outside, to acknowledge it and not stuff it down and hide it.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people just stuff it down. They don't want to face it at all, and so it just gets stuffed down in them, and then it comes out later. I've had the experience in my family where I've watched it happen 2 years later, and it's because life stopped, but then it stopped for a second, and then we picked up and we went on, and we just stayed busy until all of a sudden life stopped for one of my family members, and they realized instead of they thought it was anxiety, but instead it was really grief. And it's like, wait, no, that happened a year ago. That can't be grief. And it's like, wait, did I ever really stop and acknowledge that's what was happening then? And it was just like, no, we went through the process of it,
Yeah.
but didn't fully feel it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
It makes complete sense. I think of
Yeah.
two examples as you said this, and I don't remember who I heard this from years ago. When you're in a swimming pool and you have the big blow up ball in the swimming pool and you
Hmm.
try to wrap your arms and legs around it and lay on it and hold it underwater, but it's bigger and you end up rolling around and it pops up. It's like
Yes.
holding the ball underwater. That's our emotions or our grief, whatever anger or fear, not fear necessarily, fear is different, but
Yeah.
our anger and our grief, when we try to hold that down, it eventually has to pop out. Yeah, that
Yeah.
ball of emotion comes up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny to watch that happen in a pool, but when that is inside of you, it comes out not in the same form. It sort of explodes out, right? Just like the
Yes.
ball. It
Yeah.
doesn't just all of a sudden bubble up to the surface all
Yeah.
cute and here I am, let's talk
Yeah.
about it. It comes out mean and mad and
Mhm.
ugly. And
Yes.
so it's this explosive nature that compounds the original problem.
Yes.
And so, I mean, obviously, it's easier said than done, but it's always better to deal with it in real time. And I know you can't
Yeah.
always do that. The situation doesn't always present itself to deal with things in real time. But knowing and simply saying to yourself, oh, okay, I can't process this right now. I'll have to do this later. That calms the ball down. It
Yeah.
calms it. And you're like, okay, now it can come back. It's not such an explosion because it
Yeah.
is debilitating, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think whatever those emotions are that we tuck away and deny and resist, they fester. They fester inside of us. It's not like it's just stuck in a corner. It's in there bubbling like a bubbling witch's cauldron. It's
Yeah.
like
Just
popping out and popping out. And it's like, here, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm just letting you know. And
yep.
the more we resist, it's like the hotter the bubble gets, the hotter the water gets, and it just overflows eventually. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's what our tears are when we
Yeah.
cry and we can't take it anymore. I think that is our emotional release. That's our overflowing, boiling pot of water. That's our cauldron
Yeah.
blowing out whatever it is that has to come out. And so to me, that's healthy. Crying is healthy, in my opinion, because it's releasing stored emotion. It's like there's no more room to hold anymore. So it has to come out. That's
Yes.
my thoughts on it all.
I love it. And I love that you gave those examples because those are so relatable when and I wasn't laughing because you were saying it, but I'm laughing because I'm just like picturing it. Like you picture that ball underwater and like you're holding it down but when it happens in water, it's funny. But when it happens, you think about it happening in your body, it's not funny. It just like whoosh, it explodes. And even I feel like the tears coming down, it's that release that you need. But sometimes we don't know how to get there. I do want to go back and ask you a question.
Okay.
When you were dealing with cancer, your boys were young.
They were 9
Okay.
and 10.
Did you talk to them about it?
I did.
Yeah.
Not immediately, because
Hmm.
I wanted to like immediate diagnosis day and for the next couple of weeks, not at all. Not at all, because I wanted to gather enough information and not alarm them. I wanted to present them only with facts
Hmm.
and not drag them through this scary process of unknown. I did my best to look as normal as I possibly could during that time. And then I had to tell them right before my first surgery, because I was obviously going into surgery and I was saying, Daddy's going to pick y'all up today, or Nana's picking you up, or whatever,
Hmm.
because I wasn't going to be there. And I needed to explain why. Because up until that point in life, I had done all that. So this was a
Yes.
pure step in the abnormal. And so I needed to explain that. So that's what kind of forced it all. But because they were so young, they had seen a very close and dear friend of ours go through breast cancer just a year or two prior. And
Wow.
her process was very scary. She did the full chemo, lost all of
Hmm.
her hair, was sick. It was a very long process and just downright scary. And so that was their first real experience with it. And they were a
Yeah.
very close friend of our family. And so I didn't know if my experience was going to be just like that or different. And so I didn't
Yeah.
want to present them with anything until I had more certainty.
Yeah.
And so when we did talk about it, I was as fully aware as I could be about saying, this is what this means. Here's my prognosis. My prognosis is good. We're going to have the surgery to take it out. I used
Hmm.
words like that. I never use words like mastectomy or
Yeah.
lumpectomy or anything like that. I was like, the
Right.
doctor is going to take the cancer out and then I'm going to have to heal.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a recovery period. And then I did at some point talk to them. I did not have chemo. So I was like, I'm not going to have chemo. So I'm not going to lose my hair in the same way that y'all are familiar with. And what I opted to do is I took a drug. I took a drug for 10 years to prevent it from coming back, I guess would be the right way to say it without going into the science of it. But I did tell them, oh, by the way, mommy's going to take this drug and I'm going to take it for many years, 5 to 10 years, and it's going to help this cancer not come back. And so I kept it on a child level,
Yeah.
but they were never unaware,
Okay.
minus
Yeah.
a few weeks. But
Yeah.
no, they knew when I was going into surgery. They knew when I came home, I had to have a little bit of recovery time. They know I was, going through it emotionally, and they were too. And so we would talk about it, but it would be on their level. And it was about, hey, it's okay to be scared. It's okay. Do you need to talk about this with anybody? You can talk about this with somebody besides us. These are safe people you can talk to. And we gave them lists of people that if they ever wanted to talk to people besides me or my husband, they could. I don't think they fully grasped it all because they were just so young.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, I think now they get it more. And I would share with them, like last summer, I was like, hey, I'm fixing to finish my pill. It's been 10 years. I'm not going to take it anymore. And they're like, what? So they knew it existed and it became part of daily life, but it's not something I talked about every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
did talk to them about it. Yeah. Those were some of the hardest conversations I've ever had. It was really hard.
I can't
Really
even
hard.
imagine. That's what I wanted to get to is because you made them aware and you also told them on their level because sometimes we can freak kids out without
Yeah.
realizing. And so you took the time to speak on that level and be honest. And they'd already seen something happen. And so you don't want their mind to go straight to that
Right.
because whether we remember it even young, we still remember. Whether it's fresh in our brain, you still remember.
The feeling. I'm sure they
Yes.
remember the feeling. They're not going to remember what I said, but they're going to remember how they felt.
Yes. And I really like that you gave them people that they could talk to. Like, if you don't want to talk to me about it, here's
Yep.
some people you can talk to. Because I think that's where so many people miss the point is that they feel so alone and that they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. And that's what I want people to be aware of. It's okay to talk about these things.
I think it's healthy to talk about them.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy. I mean, because for me, there's two sides of it. It's very healthy for me not to talk about it and deal with it internally. But then I get to a certain point, then it becomes very healthy for me to talk about it.
Right.
And there's
Right.
discernment in that. It's not about just releasing it at all the times to all the people to make yourself feel better. Sometimes that doesn't work. That's not necessarily processing it. Spewing it is different than processing. But
Yeah.
when you can healthily discuss it and let it out and cry and grieve
Yeah.
and then move on from that and
Yeah.
not stay stuck in it, I think that's where it's healthy. You're not bringing the other people down with you. It's
Mhm.
sort of like venting. There's venting and then there's complaining.
Complaining.
Complaining. You're just
Yeah.
a complainer. Venting is different. You're letting it out and then you move on. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm better and I can function normally again.
I'm very
And
good at that.
you're
Just let me
very good at
vent.
venting.
Just
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
vent. I just need to get it. I'm a vocal person, and I feel like because for a long time I kept my voice quiet, and I felt very unheard by medical teams. And I'm not bashing them. I worked in Western medicine, so I'm not bashing them anyway. I just felt very unheard for a lot of my life, so I shut my voice down, and so I didn't speak it. So now, like my way of processing through things is to speak them out loud. And then people are like, God, she's complaining. I'm like, no, I'm not complaining. I just need to speak it, whether I speak it to the wall or speak it to you or just I just process it out loud.
Hmm.
And so, and then I'm done. I can move on. But it's like my body physically has to say it out loud and say how frustrated I am and before I can move on. And
Yeah, I think that's
it's not
healthy.
something I stay in. It's just like I need to get it out. And then my body can go, oh, okay. And then I can look at it a different way of like, maybe I reread the situation wrong or, like it's not always bad but it's just
Well, I
like
think
getting it out.
it's a really good practice to do because to me that's preventing it from stuffing it down in your body in a corner and it's sitting there festering. It
Yeah.
never gets to hide in the side of your body and become disease because you're actually letting it out. I also think it's worth noting that it's so good if you have somebody safe that you can do that with because they realize, oh, Casey's just being herself today, letting out whatever it is. I'm not taking it personal. She's not taking it personal. Our next phone call is going to be back to normal. You
Yeah.
know, that's what our best friends are for. That's what our sisters are for, our moms, or whoever it is we talk to.
Yeah.
I can call my sister and vice versa and say some of the harshest, rudest, ugliest things
Hmm.
and she's not going, oh, I don't like you today. She's just realizing those are my current state. That's my
Hmm.
current state. That's not who I am. That's just a moment in time.
I love
And
that right there. That's not who I am. It's just a moment. Yeah.
yeah, that's just me releasing that bubble,
Yeah.
that ball of emotion. That's not who I am. It's what I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And so if you have somebody safe you can let that go with, judgment free, you
Yes.
got a friend. That's a gift from God right there.
That is a gift from God. I think that everybody needs, and that's why I'm so big in community, is everybody needs somebody. And you don't have to have 50 people. You just need one person that you can pick up the phone or go talk to and cry, laugh, say whatever you need to say and get it off your chest and then move on. But there's no judgment and like, oh my God, she's a complainer all the time. It's wow, she had a rough day today.
That's right.
Her and then it's done and you've moved on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I have my sister and I have best friends that I can do
Yeah.
that with. But in addition to that, I think the online community of Zoom is also
Yes.
helpful to that because, like you said, we met, gosh, probably like a year and a half ago
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
And we were complete strangers and we met online on Zoom. We have never met in person,
Yeah.
but I feel like we know each other to some extent because
Hmm.
we've been in online communities together. And in those communities, there is a safety. I
Yeah.
could tell you whatever is pissing me off today, and
Yeah.
it would be okay, and vice versa. And so, if you don't have the sister or the friend in your local area, get in an online community. You'll find people
Yeah.
there who are willing to listen and validate your feelings and understand you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
There are communities to be had. And yes, it is strange it is weird and awkward to sign up and say, hi, I'm the newbie here in the room, I don't even really know how to do Zoom, and it is
Yeah.
weird, but just do it. It's for your betterment. So
Yeah.
if you have access to a community, get in it. If not, find one. Go on Facebook and find an online community. It's worth it.
Yeah. I love how you just brought that up because sometimes people look at me and they're like, what do you do on your computer? And I'm like, I get to connect with these people. And they're like, but you've never even met half of them. And I'm like, but you don't understand. Like some of us have a deeper connection than I do with the person next to me because there's like no judgment and we're in this space and we create these containers that are so safe that if someone needs to cry or like, scream, and we do work in these containers to help with that nervous system regulation and like it's kind of encouraged to if you need to scream that out or sigh that out, like do some breath work or move your body. It's you know, go do that and no one is gonna look at you and be like, what is wrong with that person? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, how can I hold space for you?
Yeah, like you said, it's not just accepted, it's encouraged
Yeah.
in some of these online communities. And I don't think that, when we have our friends and the people that know us in person, in real life,
Hmm.
people you've known for 5 or 10 or 30 or 40 years,
Yeah.
there's this expectation of who you're supposed to be. You've
Hmm.
already got defined roles within your relationship. But when you step into an online community, there's no expectation.
Right.
You can just be you.
Yes.
And it gives you the opportunity to figure that out because we're so used to playing roles. I'm so and so to this person, I'm this to this person.
Hmm.
But when you step into a room of strangers online, there is no expectation. You
Yeah.
get to figure out who you are. And so is everybody else in the room.
Yeah.
And so if a tear comes out or 1,000 of them, it's okay. Sometimes we crack each other up and sometimes we cry together. It's all part of it. And that's
Yes.
not only fun, it's rewarding because we're figuring out who we are together.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's where the bond comes in because we're vulnerable,
Yes.
you
100%.
know? So you have to be vulnerable to access your true self. You have to be vulnerable to step into strange places and meet new
Hmm.
people. But in the end, it's so very rewarding. You have to be vulnerable to process your own grief all by
Yeah.
yourself or in public.
Yeah.
It is a vulnerable thing because all the people that stuffed it away for so long weren't vulnerable. They didn't
Yes.
want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was all over the place there for a second.
No,
So,
it's actually full circle because I think there probably is grief support groups online. So I think sometimes people don't want to go talk to people in person because they don't know exactly how they're going to react. or maybe because it's someone close, where we're states apart. Luckily, we're still in the Midwest together, but we talk to people like all over the world and
Yep.
get to communicate with people all over the world. And still, every single one of us is human going through a human experience, and there's still no judgment. And there's like
Hmm.
just that space for you to, if you need to grieve, you need to grieve. If you need to scream, cry, laugh, like the hardest laughs I've ever had have been on probably on with someone like even before this call, I was flustered about my headphones. And you're like, it's okay. Like we just talked it out. And then,
Yeah.
we get to laugh about things like that.
Yeah.
And it just becomes natural.
Bringing this fully back to grief,
Yeah.
when we're on these calls together with complete strangers that eventually become friends
Yes.
all across the world, grief is a very common emotion. And I know we pointed that out in the beginning,
Hmm.
but we've both been on calls where somebody shows up and they said, I left my husband last night and my kid and I are staying at my mom's right now. We've been in situations where someone says, I'm quitting my job on Friday. I've been there for X many years and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm quitting. And somebody has said, I'm going to a very scary doctor appointment and it's probably not going to be good. We have seen it on different levels
Hmm.
from different women, from different places, at different ages.
Yeah.
So even though we're all very different, we're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, it is, we have very different lives and different experiences, but we all sort of go through the same stuff, just different ways. And when you stretch your zone of comfort outside of just the people you know in your area and you
Yeah.
hop online, it becomes clear as a bell. You all of a sudden have grown your world.
Yes.
That by itself is incredibly rewarding and addictive.
100%. It is.
And addictive. You want to keep
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Some of my closest friends don't even live close to me. Or like you and I have never met in person,
That's
but if
right.
I was having a bad day, I know that I could message you and say, or call you and say, this is what's happening. And you would hold the space for me and then encourage me. You wouldn't be like, we're going to go down this rabbit hole, like
Yep.
you would literally, I could say, I'm facing this and I don't know what to do. And I feel
Yep.
like you would just hold the space for me to talk and then ask, do you want support? How can I support you? And then we would go forward with it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think as women in general, we like to let it out and we don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, don't tell me what to do,
Yeah.
And so we just need to be heard and validated and understood. And we
Yes.
usually figure out our own problems. We
Yeah.
we figure out what we need to do. We just need to be heard for a little bit and let it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I think that there's more than one way to let it out. Community and talking in people is great, but so is
mhm.
journaling. And not everybody journals
Yeah.
and doesn't know how to journal or they don't know what to write down. Simply start by just writing out what you feel. I feel pissed off. I mean, you can start with that. It doesn't have to be any deeper than that.
Yeah.
Sometimes just putting pen to paper is helpful.
I'm glad that you said that because that is one thing that I struggled with for a long time is writing. And it didn't even have to do with my feelings. It had to do with judgment of old things that came up in school of the way I wrote or the way I spelled. So I would type. But there is a difference when you're typing versus just picking up a pen, pencil, crown, whatever you want to do, like scribbling on it and just saying, I feel this way, and just writing and not going back and reading it, just writing it down.
That's right. Nobody has to read it again. You can go shred it, you can burn it, you can tear it
Mhm.
up, you can save it if you want to, but it doesn't have to be something that's stored. The whole point is to release it.
Yeah, so good. Which are things that we've learned as we've grown.
Yeah, I
And
didn't know this 15 years ago. I
yeah,
mean, these are just things that we develop as we go through life. I think it's because sometimes out of desperation,
mhm,
we hurt so bad, we're willing to try something new. And
mhm,
you're like, oh, I've heard other people journal. What does that even look like? Well, you hurt so bad, you're willing to try it.
yeah,
And it's sad that it has to get to that point, but sometimes that's how it goes. It's not bad or wrong, it's just how it goes. There's
yeah.
no judgment in that.
I want to ask you a question. When you've gone through different phases of grief, what are some things that you want to tell people they could say? Because I think often people don't say anything, or they say something that you're like, completely mind blown and you know they mean it in the most loving way. And people always want to react. They want to react. So meal trains are common, or what can I do? And they want to jump into action. And sometimes I feel like the action is not needed. To me, sometimes that's like, stop, stop. When there is like a meal train that someone does want and does accept, that's different. So is there words or a sentence or even a way of helping people that you would say, if you know that someone is going through this, what would you tell
Yeah.
them?
If you really know the person, you kind of
Yeah.
know what to say. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes the worst thing to say, it's not the worst, it's just not good to say, is when people go, let me know how I can help.
Yes.
No one's going to reach out
No.
and say, hey, by the way, can you run to the store and get me toilet paper? And then
Yeah.
I need you to stop by here. No one's going to reach out. We're hurting so bad. The last thing we want to do is call somebody. And so that's the general thing. Let me know how I can help. Hey, don't hesitate to call. I do the same thing. I've done the same thing.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
sometimes the best thing you can do is say, I'm here for you. And I'm just going to sit with you right now in this moment. I'm just going to sit on this call and I'm going to listen to you as long as you need. And then
Yeah.
when we hang up, I'm going to say a prayer for you.
Mhm.
To me, oh, this is going to make me cry. When somebody can tell me what they prayed for me, not just say, I'm going to pray for you, but they put their words in their prayer in a text. This is what I said about you, or this is what I said for you. That is so impactful for me because saying, oh, I'm going to pray for you, that's meaningful. But when somebody says, I prayed for your strength and I prayed for your healing and I prayed for you to have strength just to get through this day, whatever it is,
Yeah.
if they can give me words to pray that I can't find on my own and I feel like I have a team of people saying these things with me or for me,
Yeah.
that's incredibly helpful. When we're hurting so bad, we can't even find our own words.
Yeah.
And so the vague, I'm praying for you is wonderful, but it's an extra step when somebody says, here's what I'm praying for you, or here are the words I prayed for you.
Yeah.
In addition, I had my very close friend. She showed up with a container of ice cream. She stopped by the grocery store and she showed up with ice cream in paper bowls and said, that's all I got for you right now. That's all I got. Because other people are grieving too. The people
Yeah.
that love you are also grieving. And so that's really helpful for people to also admit that they're hurting too. So if you hurt for someone, it's okay to say, hey, I'm hurting with you. Or I'm not just hurting for you, but I'm hurting with you. Because now you're sort of on the same level. You feel so low when you're going through something. You feel like, oh, it's just me. But when someone else says, hey, I'm here with you, that's different. That actually feels like, hey, I got a team on my side.
Yeah.
So there's that. Just realizing you're probably not going to do the right thing and there's not the perfect or right answer is the first step. And this didn't happen to me, but I know it's happened with a lot of people. Giving somebody just paper plates so they
Yes.
don't have to do the dishes, or
Yeah.
giving somebody a bag of groceries, just the staples that they maybe don't need right now, but they're gonna need. That's helpful. It's so thoughtful because everybody's gonna need a roll of paper towels and
Hmm.
that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be specific. It's just meaning, hey, I'm thinking about you. I love you, and I don't know what to do, but here's something.
Yeah.
Somebody did give me a journal. It was my sister's husband's mother. And she mailed me a journal
Oh,
with no
that's sweet.
words, just a journal. And it was a card and it would just said, thinking of you. But that was really incredible because that gave me the idea to actually write things down. And
Yeah.
I know it sounds like almost stupid to think, what do you mean you didn't think of that?
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. I was
Yeah.
going through it. I was
Yeah.
running from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment and taking care of my babies and sort of myself.
Yeah.
So I would just squash the let me know how I can help you because that's
Yeah.
really not help.
Yeah.
Actually, do something
Yeah.
or say nothing and be with them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm just going to sit with you right now. I'm here to listen.
Yes. I think those are two of the most powerful things because sometimes I've said, let me know what I can do. And I'm like, why did I just say that? Because I wouldn't have asked someone, could you go to the grocery store? And it depends on the level you know the person. So I like how you address that because sometimes you can just go to someone's house and unload the dishwasher, do the laundry for them, whatever level you know them on, mow their grass, whatever needs to be done, just
Hmm.
take the action.
If you can do it, just do
Yeah,
it.
don't ask because the answer right then is no, you don't need to do anything for me. I'm fine, has how I responded. Or no, I'm not okay, but no, I don't need you to do anything. I'll figure it out. I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but you just can't process
You
asking.
also, yeah, you don't want to have to manage somebody else who's trying to
Yes.
help you.
Yes.
There's not enough space. There's not enough
Yeah.
space when you're going through something. There's not enough space, mental capacity for you to manage someone else trying to help you. It's
Yeah.
easier to say, I don't need any help and I'll figure it out because you don't want to have to manage and maintain
Hmm.
other people. And so,
Yeah.
like you said, if you just show up and mow grass, at least it's done. I didn't even get any say so in it. My
Yeah.
grass is just mowed. You know,
Yeah.
that's just the example. But
Yeah. And I think the grocery thing, someone had the idea and they talked about bringing a bucket and it's just full of snacks or their favorite things. And it's like sometimes that's the best thing. You don't have to have words. It's just like, here it is. I'm
yep,
here. So I love that someone did that for you. And they showed up with the paper bowls. Like, we're not even dirtying your dishes. Just,
yep. We
I
had
got the
a container
bowls.
of ice cream.
We got the ice cream. Let's just sit here. And it's not even that you have to speak words.
That's right. Just be with me.
Yeah.
Just sit with me for a minute to feel like I'm not so alone because it is such a lonely feeling
That
when
is
you're going
probably,
through it.
yes, that is probably one of the biggest things. I felt alone. Even though I knew I wasn't alone, you feel alone laying there, and sometimes you just want someone to sit with you. We don't need to talk. We don't have to say anything, but just be in the same room with me.
Hmm.
Let me know that there's someone here. Your family's great, but sometimes it coming from somebody else
Yeah,
means a little bit different.
it does. Yeah, just sit next to me and I may talk, I may not, I may cry, I may not, but you being here
Yeah,
is really special.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. Grief can be a really heavy topic. I never want to leave these episodes on a sad note. If you could find a moment of joy, because I also believe that grief and joy can exist together, that we can
Hmm.
feel it all. Do you have any memories like that?
Back when I had cancer, joyous times,
Yeah.
I have lots. I actually have lots. And I've had a lot of time to process this now. But I feel so fortunate with the team of doctors that I had. I feel like I truly had a team. And they brought me so much comfort and joy in those moments, and they still do. Whether I still see those doctors or I don't, I have such fond memories. Back then, and still do, I compared it to sports. I've always played sports growing up. You know, through high school, I was on all the
Yeah.
teams, playing all the things.
Yeah.
And it was almost always a team sport. And this was me being 37 years old and being on a team again. But this time I was fighting for my life, not to win a game. And so that game of life became way more important than it ever had been. And I felt like the doctors and my husband and my mom, we were all on this team with the same goal in mind. And it was to make sure I was going to live long and strong. And so, with the fortunate team of doctors that I had, they brought me a lot of joy. And I have a lot of gratitude for them. That is the first thing that came to mind. Secondly, and it was years later, I'm going to say around 4 years later after my diagnosis, I know it sounds silly. I cleaned out my bra drawer. It
Yeah.
brought me so much joy to get rid, because I had a double mastectomy with reconstruction, so everything is different. Bras don't fit the same. I was the same size, but it's just different. I
Yeah.
got to get rid of every underwire bra that had been in my drawer for way too long. Way
Yeah.
too long. We know how that goes,
Yeah.
right? And so um I couldn't address that for years because I was grieving it. I was like, oh, I'll never get to wear these pretty, cute little bras the same because they don't fit the same. And so I avoided it. But one day I woke up and there was a sale at Kohl's. If anybody knows what a Kohl's is, there was a bra sale. And I was like, hello, bra section. And I replaced all of my bras with new bras that simply fit me for my new stage of life. And it's so sad that it took me years to do that, but it was so rewarding. It felt like a cleanse.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just a declutter, it was a cleanse. It was like a goodbye and a hello all at the same time. And so that brought me a lot of joy. And I know that's probably silly or whatever, but it is true. That is true for me.
I am so glad you shared that because it is so true on facing the grief process, and yet it seems so silly. But bras are expensive, first of all. Let's just
Yes.
address that. We need bras and they're expensive.
Yes.
And so, yeah, dealing with it and moving on. When you said that, if you guys could see the excitement on her face when she's like, I got to go get rid of them and get all the new. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you're the new person and you're like, here I am. This is me and this is who I am now, and I'm good with it.
Yeah. It's
The
such a simple
power.
step. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was more of an identity shift for me. I'm like, this is the old self. I'm throwing it out. These bras I'm never going to wear again.
Yeah.
And here's the new me. Not like anybody can see it, but it was really an identity shift within me.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And that was a very good lesson. And we can have fun doing nothing, stuff nobody knows about. That can be fun.
Yes. I think those are some of the most important memories to keep is something like that that you can laugh about that actually shifted something for you. And it seems like, yet other people, it would seem silly, but it's not silly. It's like such a powerful thing to do. And it's also such a good thing. Like it's funny, like just talking about it. Like
It's psychological. Go get rid of your old gray bra. I'm serious. The one
yeah.
that used to be white, that's now dingy and gray or brown or whatever color we want to call that. It's time to let it go. It's psychological. Let that part go and get a new white or beige or whatever it is because this is the new you. I'm serious.
Oh,
Declutter and get rid of the old.
I love it. I love it so much. I could talk to you for hours about this.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
talk
This is
in
fun.
life. If you could leave someone with anything, do you have a sentence, a statement that you would leave them
Mm.
with?
Well, my motto is if you're knocked down, you're not knocked out. That's the foundation of my entire coaching practice is it's rooted in resilience is what that means. But we get knocked down. Crap knocks us down. We get blindsided. Sometimes it's cancer, sometimes it's the cable bill. Sometimes it's the toilet that won't flush, right? But we get knocked down. And hey, you're not going to stay there. You're going to rise. Whether it takes an hour or a day or for however long, commit to rise, commit to climb back up, and commit to thriving. When we get knocked down, we're not knocked out. Get back up and keep going. That's kind of my motto or my mantra for life. It's not
Yes.
that we're not going to get knocked down. We are. When we get knocked down, you're not knocked out. Get back up
I
and keep
love it.
going. Thanks.
Yeah, so powerful. Will you tell the listeners where they can find you at? And I'll
Yeah.
put it in the show notes, but I want to just go ahead.
Yeah, do that. My company is No Knockouts. I can be found at No Knockouts on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is also noknockouts.com. And I have the podcast, No Knockouts with Pam Sandrock. And it's everywhere Spotify, Apple, all the places. Find me at No Knockouts.
Yeah, I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on and just sharing your story and being authentically you.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been fun. I appreciate the
Yeah.
time. I enjoy podcasting because I get to sit with people like you and just talk and have fun. And what could be better than that?
Yeah, nothing. The connection is amazing.
That's right.
So I appreciate
Thanks again
you.
for having me.
Yeah, I just want to tell all the listeners I will leave where you can find Pam in the show notes. And I guarantee you, just reach out and let us know. Reach out to Pam, reach out to myself, and let us know what resonated with you today. Because there were so many good, powerful moments and stories that I know that something resonated with you today. So please reach out to us and let us know. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I hope today's story inspired you to embrace your own journey of growth and change. Remember, transformation isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. If you found something that sparked you in this episode and may spark a friend, I encourage you to go share it with them. If you have your own story you would like to share, I would love to hear it, so please reach out to me. Until next time, friends, go have some fun and let those sparks fly.